Hello everyone, this is Miss Smith, and the purpose of this video is to just walk you through our week 7 class just a little bit because there's some differences in this class from other classes that we've had. And so, of course, you have your week 7 class information. So when you click on that, you'll be able to see our lecture, quote unquote lecture information about long reports and short reports. Now this week, I'm introducing the semi-formal report assignment. The semi-formal report is the big deal Hulkamania assignment, right? It's the one that's worth 20% of your grade in the course, and it takes a good amount of time for you to do. It's a 10 to 12 page report. The good thing is, it's a very well structured assignment. So if you follow my guideline, you'll be just fine. Okay? If you follow step by step, keep up with everything, do exactly as I ask you, you'll be just fine. Okay? And so make sure that you read over all this information and that you watch the video. This is me giving you the overview in this video. And so I want you to make sure you do that so that you understand the nature of the report. But before you can begin any work on the long report, the semi-formal report, before you can begin any work on that, you have to submit a proposal memo to gain approval for your idea. And so what you'll be doing is completing a job shadow. It has to be done this semester, and you have to make sure that whatever idea you have for your job shadow, that you submit it to me as a proposal memo. And so this proposal memo overview and template will show you how you need to prepare that assignment and how you need to submit it to me to gain approval. Once you have approval for your proposal memo, I can then give you permission to go ahead and get started on your semi-formal report. Again, the semi-formal report is not something that you can wait until the last minute to complete. You want to give yourself ample time. And so make sure that you go through and that you look at and engage with every single thing that I've given you for this week's class. Now, you also have 2 quizzes that will be due, okay, on next week. So you have an MLA quiz and a plagiarism quiz. I have revised and updated our syllabus to include the plagiarism quiz, okay? And so the syllabus on the home page now reflects that the plagiarism quiz is also due in addition to the MLA quiz. And so you want to make sure that you give yourself enough time to be able to complete the proposal memo assignment, have that submitted by deadline, and then also the MLA quiz and the plagiarism quiz. Each of these quizzes, I think there are about 10 questions each, so they're not many questions, and you do have a time limit of an hour to complete each of the quizzes separately, okay? And you only have one attempt, so make sure that you manage your time well this week so that you're getting everything done and that you're not pushed up to deadline trying to get everything done, okay? I also want to point out, and I said that this week was a little bit different, I want to point out that there's another file here. So week 7 class contains our lecture, and that mainly covers our short reports and long reports. The long report will be the semi-formal report. That will be a 10 to 12 page report. The short report will be the proposal memo, something that's a little bit shorter, a little bit faster to do, okay? And so we cover that in week 7 class, but then we also have this file, and I want you to make sure you take a look at this as well. This is information about MLA documentation and plagiarism. MLA stands for Modern Language Association, and it's what we use to prevent plagiarism, to properly document our work. This is a college level English class. You will not pass this semi-formal report assignment, and you may not pass this class. Chances are you won't pass the class if you fail the semi-formal report, right? And so you can fail the semi-formal report by not properly documenting your sources. And so again, when you read over the information, when you watch the videos, you will see that it's very doable. It is very, very doable. It's a lot of work, but it's very doable. I'm not asking for a whole lot of sources, but you want to make sure that you're giving your very best work and your very best effort. So make sure that you read over all this information. You'll want to use your textbook as a resource for MLA format, and you want to also make sure that you watch this video overview of our OC Tech plagiarism policy, and here's a link to it here. There's also been a link to it since the beginning of the semester on our homepage. Okay, there's some other resources here that will help you with in-text citations, which will also be important. Make sure you watch this before you start your quiz, and just some other resources as well that will help you with MLA documentation. And so again, just let me emphasize that for your two quizzes, you have an MLA quiz and then you have a plagiarism quiz. For your MLA quiz, you need to use your textbook, all right, as a guide, and you need to make sure that you've watched this in-text citations video first, okay? For the OC Tech plagiarism policy quiz, you want to make sure that you have a copy of this plagiarism policy and that you're referring to it while you're taking the quiz, okay? This is a reference sport. You're not going to be able to memorize all of what's in here, so you want to make sure you have it so that you can refer to it. Finally, do not confuse this plagiarism policy quiz with the course overview and plagiarism quiz that we did in the beginning of the semester. They are two different things, two completely different things, okay? And so you have to take both of those quizzes this week, okay? And there is no late work on quizzes. So make sure that you submit your quizzes by deadline, and definitely submit your proposal memo assignment by deadline, okay? And so if you have questions, please let me know. I'm happy to help however I can. I'm happy to give you more additional guidance. But I will say that if you ask me something that I have already put in our assignments and it's just an indication that you haven't read it, I will refer you back to the assignment. Okay? I want you to make sure that you're not missing anything. That's the way that you are successful. If you make sure that you're taking the time and doing your part in reading the information and watching the videos, if you do your part on that, you should have the information that you need. On top of that, if you have questions, then please let me know. Hope you all have a great week. Talk with you next week.